women who have deep wounds, typically childhood wounds from parents, often from the opposite parent, opposite sex parent. So, well, in this case, it would be women, it would be fathers, but it can also happen in reverse with men. Uh, when we're kids, we learn about relationships from our parents, uh, the opposite sex parent. So little boys learn about relationships from their mother, little girls learn relationships from their father. So our relationship, um, the way we handle relationships starts at a very young age. What we learn about relationships starts at a very young age. And if we have a father, particularly, I'm going to stick this to females with father issues, only because where I'm going with it, that's what was on my mind about this situation. You have a child, female child, who is learning from her father about relationships. She doesn't realize that, and probably most of the dads don't realize that, because if they did, they would function differently in the way that they live their lives and the way that they raise their children. But many people don't realize that that's where relationship learning begins. And we have situations where a lot of fathers are leaving relationships, leaving kids behind with the mother. They're either walking away because they just can't handle the responsibility, or and then if there's fighting between the parents, then the mother may shut it down and say, "This is not good for my child." That's bad. It's really bad. Your children need access to their parents, both of their parents, unless it's life-threatening or really damaging. But I think sometimes we get into a pissing match with our ex, and we don't want to allow them the pleasure of seeing their child, and we put up barriers and walls so that that doesn't happen, or doesn't happen the way it should happen in a natural way. So anyway, you've got this childhood wound that this soon to be grown up adult has. And childhood wounds can happen at very, very young ages. You might think, well, my dad left when I was a year old. I don't even remember it. That was a wound. That was a really deep, serious wound, in fact. Just because you can't remember it when you're an adult doesn't mean it didn't happen, and doesn't mean it wasn't damaging. It was very damaging. And this girl, she grows up, she gets into her teens, maybe early 20s. She starts dating. And because she didn't know how to have a real, honest, healthy relationship, because of the damage or the abandonment that happened when she was a child, she plays out that wound, that abandonment issue, or that abuse issue in her dating. So she doesn't know how to, her self-confidence is damaged because of this issue. Her self-worth is damaged because of this issue. And she meets guys to date. And she finds that all the guys that she's dating are not healthy, loving, caring people. They have their own wounds that they have developed over their lifetime. And they don't treat her correctly, but she doesn't really understand that she knows she's not being treated really well, but it's comfortable, it's safe, it's something that she knows, it's something that she's used to because she has had this wound from her childhood. So she's not actually making a choice to stay in a relationship or to stay in a marriage out of a deep emotional bond and deep love. She's choosing it because it is what she's used to, what she's familiar with. And her dating partners are most likely the same way. And I put a lot of fault on this person, this girl. She is a victim. She has been hurt in the past. She needs help, possibly, healing from that wound. She needs to recognize that she has a wound. And she needs to feel safe in expressing to somebody that she has a wound or multiple wounds, and she needs help. She needs counseling, she needs therapy, she needs whatever help she thinks she needs to get over this wound. If she becomes, or if she stays unconscious, or she denies that she has a wound, then she's going to go after men who are similar to daddy, or how daddy was at that time. So if daddy was an abandoner, she is going to go after guys who aren't going to stick around. If daddy was an abuser, she's going to go after guys who were abusers. Unfortunately, it doesn't make any sense other than the fact that it is familiar. But that is what happens. That is how it goes. This girl who was hurt or damaged in her early childhood had continual problems all the way through with the opposite sex. And she has played out that situation over and over and over again. So by the time she gets to, serious dating age, she is literally attracting men that do not know how to love her properly. And she doesn't feel like she deserves to be loved properly. So that is also part of the reason why she is bringing these people in, because this is what she knows. This is what she thinks she is worthy of. This is what she thinks that she can handle. And every girl wants to be a princess. Everyone. They all have dreams of castles and knights on white horses, and they want love, and they want just this picturesque, perfect life. And they deserve to have that. But unfortunately, there's so many wounded people wounding more people that it's very common for people to have wounds nowadays. And it's very common to get to dating and marriage age and find out that you can't pick men, that you pick them based on what happened to you when you were younger. Now, everybody knows this, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. I'm sure of it. But what people don't seem to think about or realize is that in doing this, in not dealing with this healing and growing up and picking bad men, we women, in a way, are teaching men that it is okay to not be healthy, loving, compassionate people. Because the amount of people or the amount of women with pretty serious childhood wounds has become so immense that in this day and age, I would have very hard time finding a woman who did not have some type of childhood wounding. And if she doesn't realize that she has this wounding and she doesn't realize the effect that it's having on everything that she's doing from this day forward, she is basically going after men who are going to further wound her. And if you have, let's just say 9 out of 10 women have these wounds, and you have 9 women teaching, or 10 women, 9 of those women are literally teaching men that it's okay to not be a healthy, loving, compassionate male. Okay? And they're teaching them that because they're reliving a wound from childhood that never got healed. So let's say that, there were half of the people were damaged 10 years ago. And now, today, we've got 9 out of 10 people that were damaged. Every time this female who is damaged gets into a relationship or gets married, she is literally teaching this male to be less than he can actually be. She is teaching him to treat her poorly. She's not doing this consciously. It's not something that she has set out to do. She's not purposely trying to be treated poorly. She's actually trying to be treated properly. She's actually trying to live her life and to live it as happily as she can possibly live it. But she's got this wound that she didn't take care of. And she is carrying that wound on her back like a backpack full of rocks. And every person that she encounters, that she gets into a relationship with or a friendship with, she is literally teaching the people that she's with how to treat her wrong, how to treat her poorly, even if they kind of know how to treat somebody. If they, maybe they're teetering on the edge. Maybe, they had a few problems, but without her saying, you won't do that to me or I will leave, or you won't talk to me that way or I will leave, or just being soft, being needy, being not unhealed, not speaking up and saying, you can't treat me this way. You can't do this to me. You can't. It is important to speak your truth, to say, I will not put up with this. And then you have to make that commitment to not put up with it and draw the line in the sand. You have to have boundaries. And if you don't have boundaries and you're just hoping to God that you can hang on to this man because you have this wound and this man is treating you poorly, you're literally teaching this man how to treat women poorly. Now, he may have already known when you met him. He may have already been a jerk. He may have had his own problems and his own, challenges along the path. But now you've gotten him into this situation, and maybe 3 women before you have done the same thing. This guy is now damaged. He has no idea how to treat a woman. Or he knows how to treat a woman poorly. And he is also suffering the damage from all of these relationships who are teaching him how to treat a woman bad. It's like this vicious cycle that we as women have to take responsibility for. And that is kind of the point of this. We have to, A, heal our old wounds. We have to work on our self-confidence and our self-worth. You have got to know at any age that you are a valuable person and that you deserve to be treated with respect, love, and kindness. And if you don't do that, you are actually contributing to the destruction of human relationships because you're allowing bad behavior to flourish. And I think that is a lot of what the problem is these days with people in relationships is all this wounding, and then the lack of self-worth and looking for more wounding, not purposely, but that's what you drag in if you don't heal those wounds. So it's really important, not only, a lot of times we talk about healing in the sense that it's really important to heal yourself or to get help with your healing. And I absolutely agree with that. But it is vital for humanity that you deal with these wounds. It's not just about you. It's about every person that you get in a relationship with, because you are perpetuating the wound, most likely. Very, very rarely does a woman with a childhood wound grow up to be a happy, healthy, stable individual without help, who can, excuse me, who can deal with a healthy, bonded, loving relationship. And it takes many years to fix that. But it has to be fixed, you guys. It has to be fixed. You have to start dealing with these wounds, because you're not only making your life harder, but you're teaching the people that you get involved with, the people that you're having these relationships with, you are teaching these people how to treat you poorly. And that just has a magnifying effect over years and years and years of damage and, re-damaging over and over and over again. So if you think you have wounds somewhere in your life, you should really put some focus on healing those wounds rather than getting in another relationship. Stay single for a while. Learn your own worth, your own value. Once you learn that, you'll be ready for another relationship. And you won't go into that relationship expecting this person to treat you poorly. You'll go into it expecting them to treat you really well, really lovingly, and value and respect you. And you will literally raise up those males, or I'm not going to even get into the whole alternative sexual thing. I'm talking male-female relationships right now. You will not get in a situation where you are helping these men that you encounter become horrible people or continue to be horrible people. You will teach them. If every woman did this and every woman expected from a man a certain type of treatment, then that is exactly what you would get. And if you are a female who's saying there are no good men, they all stink, they're all mean, they all do this or they all do that, A, you probably have a wound, and B, you know exactly what I'm saying right now. It's a problem. And it's a problem that grows by leaps and bounds every generation. And I think now, today, we are seeing the effects of this big problem on a massive scale. Massive scale. And what I'm talking about right now can be reversed. It can be that the male has wounds and he's teaching these women how to treat him poorly. And this kind of goes back to a video. You hear it all the time. The nice guy never gets the girl. And I just did a video not too long ago about the nice guy doesn't get the girl because he makes stupid choices. Okay? Not because he picks the wrong girl. It's the same thing. The nice guy picks the wrong girl. The girl, the nice girl, is picking the wrong guys. We are all teaching each other how to behave with other people, with the opposite sex. But we're not taking any responsibility for doing that. We think it's outside of us. It has to do with them. It's their fault. It's you. It's you. We're pointing the finger at everybody. But if we have a wound and we are allowing somebody to treat us poorly, we are a part of that problem. We are making that problem happen. And that is where the responsibility comes in. And that's where we have to stop, take a stand and say, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to allow our wounds to dictate our future. We're going to learn how to love ourselves. We're going to learn how to be worthy. And we're going to expect that from the people that we get involved with. And that needs to happen yesterday. So just remember, if you are carrying a wound, or if you are accepting less than you are worthy of in a relationship, you are part of the problem. And you really need to Step it up, heal the wound, and expect people to treat you better. And I think, honestly, in this world today, we all need to expect people to treat us better. And we need to be willing to walk away from anybody who isn't treating us properly immediately. Blessings.